may start.
Okay. Thank you, Shintong. Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Mother's Day to all the ladies and mothers in the group. Okay, today we are talking about this an article that's being featured in this Ganoderma issue 90 on Liang and anti-inflammation. Okay, jump to history now. Okay, in the immune system introduction, the immune system is basically like an army in our body. It protects our body from any external invasion, such as bacteria and viruses, and it removes any potential cells that may turn cancerous. Just like COVID-19, there are some people in the West especially who doesn't want to be vaccinated, right? They want to depend on the body immune system to counter the virus. This is the case, all right? So, but when our immune system is not functioning properly, it can cause a problem to our body. Just like patients who suffer from AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, right? When they are hit with the HIV virus, right, the immune system may collapse, and then the slightest bit of bacterial infection, they are in trouble. Okay. So inflammation, what is inflammation? Is an immune system response to this invasion by the foreign elements, and is also the basis to remove any harmful pathogens and facilitate repair in the body. So our body needs inflammation, like it or not. It may be harmful, but we need it. But there are more research being indicated that if the body is always subject to this abnormal inflammation under chronic environment, then our tissue will not be able to heal themselves, and subsequently the organ around there may also be infected, and it runs the risk of leading to other diseases like cancer and cardiovascular diseases. I mean, those who have been listening to me over the years, I always say that cancer is basically a cell that is in our body. It gone haywire because our immune system is not able to remove it or tackle it to keep it under control, right? So this is the case, right? Hi, page 2. So there have been many research being done on the anti-inflammatory effects of Liang that were published since Liang was cultivated, and scientific research was made available in the late 60s. Okay, and research in anti-cancer effects of Liang always lead the components to the anti-inflammatory pathway. Why Liang was able to suppress the growth of cancerous cells was because it can have this anti-inflammatory pathway to stop it from further growing. Okay, all right. In this series here, we will look at inflammation in 4 areas: the liver, the nerve, the lung, and the skin. All right. Okay. First, let us look at what is inflammation. Okay. Inflammation is when the body is invaded by foreign elements. Our first level of immune system, that is the innate immune system, will set up an alarm and activate the system to produce antibodies to fight the invasion. And this is known as inflammatory response, right? I mean, now I believe a lot of us are fully aware what is inflammation from the COVID-19 thing that we have been educated over the last 2 years. The common results of such inflammatory response is that you have fever, you feel red hot, swollen, pain here and there. This is like typical fever from a flu lah. Or the enzyme produced from such response are not only lethal to the invading pathogen, they kill the pathogen, the bacteria, the virus, but they can also be destructive to the surrounding cells in our body. So after they have managed to overcome the pathogens, the immune system will have the so-called the back team to come and sweep up and clean up all the dead cell and the immune cells that launched the attack. So-called the army that was doing it all have to be removed. If they don't remove, the tissue cannot go about to repair and restore. Okay, and if the inflammation is chronic, that means every time keep on having the inflammation for a prolonged period of time, the immune system will not be able to remove the immune cells that are used to fight the pathogen. And once they cannot remove, they cannot carry out repairs and restore the tissue, and eventually harm will come to the body. Okay, basically this is what inflammation is all about lah. Okay, let us look at the first issue on liver damage, inflammation in the liver. Okay, my heading is 灵芝 polysaccharide reduces carbon tetrachloride induced liver damage and inflammation. Okay, first we look at the introduction here. Liver is a very important organ in our body, and it performs as many as 500 functions that basically include detoxification, protein synthesis, and metabolism, just to name the few. Okay, all right. As liver it is, there's no nerves, and when it is injured, there's no signs or symptoms other than a little bit of discomfort, like maybe we have indigestion, this and that, a bit of not feeling well. So you won't be able to know. Slight inflammation, you won't be able to know. Okay? Only when you go for your annual blood test and annual health check, then you find out that your liver markers are higher than normal. Then you will know, right? And of course, when you are so-called very mild in inflammation and a slight liver damage, you don't bother about it. Over time, it becomes fibrosis. Like for example, fatty liver. How fatty liver come about? Because of excess food, right, that we eat, excess calorie that we eat. So over time, it becomes fats that deposit on the liver, and this fats deposit on the liver is called fatty liver, and over time, it will affect our GOT, GPT number. And if you don't do anything, after 5, 10 years, 10, 20 years, it becomes fibrosis, then it becomes cirrhosis, and ultimately liver failure or cancers. Okay? So, like I said, cause of liver problem are mainly due to stress, lifestyle, diet, infections, chronic illnesses, or drugs, which happened to me last time when I took some drug, for my skin problem. It caused some slight liver damage, but luckily it was, I didn't feel anything. My GOT, GPT was something like about slightly over 100. So after I got to know Ling Zi, I consume it and yes, come down, drop down to 60, and then I believe now it's back to normal around 40. I've not gone for my latest checkup at all. Okay. Okay, in 2019, a study published in Pharmacology pointed out that Ling Zi polysaccharide, that's one of the main components of Ling Zi, can reduce inflammation from the damage arising from the chemical CCI4. Okay, right. Let's look at the study. Okay, of course, I mean, a lot of this study on Ling Zi is all through animals. Then they probably nobody want to sponsor to do a full clinical study because they cannot register as a registered drug. Right, so therefore they can only do up to the animal stage. The study used an animal model with Ling Zi polysaccharide extracted and the drug bifenthate, which is used to treat liver inflammation. Okay, they have 6 groups of mice, the normal one, the model, and then the 3 dosage and 1 with the drug. Okay, after they have on day 7, 1 hour after feeding the test material, the mice were injected with CCI4, and 6 hours later they sacrificed the drug. Okay, from day 1 they will feed all this, right? You see down there, I say mice tube fed with 50 milligram per kilo of Ling Zi extract for 7 days. From day 1 to day 7, they all do all this. 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. Day 1 to day 7, they all do it. Okay? Then day 7, they inject the chemical to cause inflammation and damage to the liver. Okay? Then 6 hours later, the mice were sacrificed and they extract the serum and the liver. Okay, look at what's the result. Of course, the first thing about liver is to measure the GPT and GOT, or alternatively also known as GLT and GST, and bilirubin. Okay, to show the result. So you can see from the table below, right? The control, normal, healthy mice. The ALT and the AST is around 60 and 85. Okay, but when it's CCI4 injected, what are they? They are basically enzyme that is in the liver. It helps to convert the protein into energy for our liver cells. So when there's damage, it will increase. It will flow into our bloodstream. That's why when we take blood, this figure start to show. Or else if you don't, normally when your liver is not damaged, this will not flow into the blood. A very small amount only. All right. Same goes with the bilirubin. Bilirubin is arise out of the metabolism of our red blood cells. Okay, and it's processed into our liver into bile, subsequently excreted through our PC. Okay, and it has no reason to be flow into our blood. Only reason is when there's liver damage or when the bile duct is blocked. Right, for people with bile problem, then it will flow into the blood. Right, That's why these three indicators are indicators of liver or bile duct problem. Okay, right. We look at another parameters that the research look at. That is the inflammatory cytokine, the inflammatory cells. Okay, when CCI4 introduced, right, injected, inflammation increase. You can see from the table below, the inflammation cytokines are like interleukin 1 beta, interleukin 6, right, and interleukin 18, right. All these are the inflammatory cytokines, and they all has gone up. When the mice are introduced with polysaccharides, you can see that the inflammatory cytokine, inflammatory cells has fallen, okay, to a level that is closer to that of medication. Bifendate is a medication, to a level that is closer than medication. Although it's not very close, but at least it's closer. Okay? So what this suggests? This suggests that linked polysaccharide has liver protection against inflammation. Okay? And protects the liver. Right? Okay, this one is on the liver protection. Liver links protecting the liver against inflammation and damage. Next one is links polysaccharide can reduce nerve inflammation, microglia mediated neuroinflammation. Okay, this is the nerve cells. Okay, neuroinflammation. When we talk about neuroinflammation, we refer to the inflammation of the tissues in the brain or the spinal cord. That means along the central nervous system. All right. And as it is the same, inflammation is all about the immune system launching a defense mechanism against any trauma or infection. People with, let's say, accident, motor vehicle accident, or infection, brain infection, all that, the body will launch an immune system to protect it. However, it's not only just that. In an aging society, dementia and neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson are also very common. Right? And research has shown that they are correlated to inflammation. Although they don't say that it's completely the cause of it, but they have shown that there is a correlation, right? Increase in inflammation is an increase in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Right? Why they do that? Because when they do an autopsy of those Alzheimer's patients, they found that they have large amount of beta amyloid and tau protein deposits in their brain. These are the two main enzymes that is causing Alzheimer's disease. Okay, so therefore nowadays, any drugs, researchers are looking into this area to develop new drugs. All right. Okay, what is beta amyloid? Beta amyloid also we have spoken before. There are some so-called cells that are found in the fatty membrane surrounding our nerve cells. Okay, and when they aggregate it will form into amyloid plaques. Right, these amyloid plaques, when they gather together in the lung, okay, trigger the activation of microglia. This microglia is the immune cells of the central nervous system. Okay, the activation of this microglia, same thing like just now I talked about the innate immune system, releases inflammatory cytokine and enzymes that are harmful to the brain cells. This microglia releases enzyme like phagocytosis. They eat up all these pathogen, okay, all these beta amyloid, all right. But at the same time, they are also harmful to existing healthy brain cells, all right. Those are not so healthy one. The microglia cells will eat them up, all right. Like I said just now, in a chronic activation stage, in a chronic inflammatory stage, the microglia will not be able to clear all these inflammatory cells, right? I mean, imagine in a war situation, if you have only a platoon of men, let's say 30 people, and you are facing a battalion of men, enemy that has 600 over people, what is your chances of survival? Very little, right? So the same thing happened here, right? So therefore, there's no chance for the microglia cells to clear up all these inflammatory cytokine and enzymes. So as a result, this inflammatory cytokine and enzyme will go about to attack normal healthy cells, the normal healthy nerve cell, the neuron, and cause further damages. And for those people who already have, say, weak immune system or initial cases of Alzheimer or Parkinson, their situation will get more serious, right? So we see whether how Lindsay can go about to help. All right, a study in 2017 published in the Journal of Neuroinflammation showed that Lindsay polysaccharide can improve beta amyloid induced neuroinflammation. Of course, they have to do simulation. They use inducing the neuroinflammation to study. This is an in vitro experiment. They're not able to do in vivo type. They extract the Lindsay polysaccharide, and then they also extract the cerebral cortex and the hippocampus tissue of DO mice to prepare the primary microglia cells. Right? The cerebral cortex and the hippocampus is basically what is in our brain now. Right? And they culture these microglia cells and then they pre-treat it with 0.1 microgram per milliliter of Lindsay polysaccharide for 2 hours. Then they activate it with 10 micrometer of beta amyloid cells for 24 hours. I mean, it's a very complicated thing. We don't need to do all, how the process goes about, but they stimulate it by beta amyloid and then add it together to simulate the neuroinflammation in Alzheimer's disease. Then they study how the inflammatory response come about. I mean, those who want to know more, you can go on to read. You type in the title, you can read the detail in the research. Alright, let's look at the result. Okay. First, we look at the inflammatory cytokine in interleukin 6. Interleukin 6 is an inflammatory cytokine, an inflammation cell. They are highly correlated to Alzheimer's disease. Right? So as you can see here, after activation, the messenger RNA and the protein expression of interleukin 6 in the primary microglia increased significantly. It increased by 1.5 times. I'm not able to get the chart because I wasn't able to have full access. So therefore, I did not do a chart. I do a written one. So you imagine after activation, the interleukin 6 is 1.5 times higher than control. This goes to show that the activation works, right? Then, when they compare with the GLP, they find that the GLP level can reduce the level comparable to control. So, what does it tell you? It tells you that linked polysaccharide can suppress inflammation, right? Suppress this interleukin 6. Interleukin 6 is a cells that when it's inflamed, it will be produced by the immune cells, by the microglia cells, okay? Then the next look at the interleukin 1 beta. It is a mediator of neuroimmune response, and TGF, tumor growth factor beta, a common anti-inflammatory. It is against inflammation. This one is a mediator, one is an anti-inflammation, right? And these two, if it is increased, it will improve an Alzheimer patient condition. Okay, so as it is activation by beta amyloid, the RNA expression of these two cells decrease. Increase by 2.5 times, and okay, the mediator. That means, what does it tell you? The interleukin 1 beta in the primary microglia increased by 2.5 times. That means it tells you that it has to so-called go about to arrange for more activity the sentiment, right? Whereas the TGF beta was not significant. However, when linked polysaccharide was introduced to this activation, you see that the interleukin 1 beta has recovered to a lower level. That means there is the mediator. There's no need for the mediator to act on it anymore, to go about to do something. And the TGF beta increase, the anti-inflammatory factor increase by double, bringing it to the original control level. Okay, that means, what does it tell you? It tells you that linked polysaccharide has regulatory and anti-inflammatory effects. It can modulate and it can suppress inflammation, like what we said earlier in this interleukin 6. Okay. Then they also look at another enzyme, inducible nitric oxide synthase. This one, if you increase expression, when this enzyme increase, it will further enhance the inflammatory response. That means it will become more serious. right? And this enzyme is associated with more production of beta amyloid and tau protein. And when there's more production, of course, it will cause more problems for it will worsen the situation of Alzheimer patient. Okay? But when you find out that when the study found out that when the primary microglia was activated by beta amyloid, the messenger RNA expression of double when compared to control. However, when treated with GLP, the messenger RNA expression recovered to that of control. So it has brought down. This indicates that GLP or polysaccharide can reduce inflammation and improve Alzheimer patient's condition. So at least it can delay Alzheimer patient from getting worse because they reduce the inflammation, they reduce the increased production of beta amyloid and tau protein. That will make the situation worse. Okay? Okay, another analysis is that they look at the morphological changes. Right? They look at the image analysis. They found that the primary microglia cells, they look at the cells there, they were activated by beta amyloid. It became large and damaged with lesser branches. Beta amyloid cell is like just with a lot of arm here and there. However, if it is pre-treated with linker polysaccharide, the shape of the cells are restored to that of an oval and elongated and with branches. That means it can go about to connect with other neurons, okay, thereby improving the cell morphology. Okay, the study measured the microglia cells, the area, the parameter, the fat. Right. Coming to linker improve OVA induced lung inflammation. OVA is overbumin. Overbumin is found in egg white. Just in case people who do not know what is OVA. It is actually also a source of life. Okay, asthma is one of the most common chronic respiratory and inflammatory diseases. Estimated that there are over 300 million people suffering from it worldwide. And of course, causes of asthma are complex and symptoms are varied. We are not going into it, but basically what it involves is that it has various degrees of airway obstruction, bronchial hypersensitivity, and airway inflammation. These are the three features of people with asthma problems. Right? Asthma are normally treated with bronchodilators or inhaled steroid. Right? However, studies show that about 40% of asthmatic patients they were treated with inhaled steroids were not effective and have to depend on good prevention, maybe a good prevention practices to reduce the risk of asthma attack. So these people with asthma problem, they are very afraid to go into dusty environment. They cannot travel during the springtime when there are a lot of pollen floating around, right? They are very careful. They are afraid that they will get asthma attack and they must carry an EpiPen with them all the time, right? Okay, a 2020 study published in the Journal of Leukocyte Biology. It's all about biology of cells. All this research is looking at molecular biology. I mean, for us laymen, we seldom come across about all this molecular biology, but all the research is talking about, because there's anyway, molecular biology is the start of our life. So it's a cell study. Out that linseed extract can effectively reduce overbooming-induced asthma. Right. The study, first they start by stimulating an asthmatic condition. Okay, of course, to start by studying to stimulate an asthmatic condition, they have to sensitize the mice with a mixture of ovobumin and aluminum hydroxide in a solution. Then maybe they spray on the nose on day 1, day 7, day 14, day 21 to condition the mice so that the lung will be affected. Then on day 28 to 42, the mice were again stimulated with ovobumin every 2 days for a duration of 30 minutes. They spray on the nasal, maybe like right now, all the ART test into the nose to just get it to infect the lung. Then on day 24 to 42, which is about the same time, okay, they inject it into the abdomen once a day, 1 milligram per kilo per day of linseed recombinant protein, LZ8, or 2 milligram per kilo per day of corticosteroid as comparison drug use. Okay, then at the end of the study, on the 43rd day, the mice were killed and they extract the serum for analysis. Okay, so if you want to read the research, it's available. You can go into detail on it. Right. Okay, what's the result? In asthmatic patients, their airways are infiltrated with immune cell. Like I said just now, what is the immune cell? Immune cell is basically come about to protect. So when there is a foreign pathogen that enter the lung, the immune cells will come, right? Like white blood cells, like lymphocyte, the eosinophils. It will migrate from the blood to the respiratory tract and create an allergic inflammatory response. Okay? The ovobumin-induced mice in the study also displayed a similar phenomenon. This shows that the model of simulation works, right? Because they found also that there's large number of inflammatory cells in the respiratory airways of the mice, right? So when they measure the number of inflammatory cells, the eosinophilic leukocyte in the lung, they found that it is double that of control when it is stimulated by ovobumin. However, if it is treated, for the group, they are at the same time treated with linseed recombinant protein LZ8. You find that the inflammation and the eosinophilic leukocyte will reduce to a level that is closer to that of control, right? Also similar to the steroid. It's just as good as steroid. This go to show the linseed 8 is just as good as steroid. So what does it tell you? It tells you that linzi egg can reduce lung inflammation. Okay, I mean it's as good as corticosteroid lah. Huh? Now the study then, of course, look at the the immunoglobulin E antibodies. We know that from COVID-19, our body also has antibodies. I mean, when we are infected, our body will also develop antibodies. So same thing when you're infection, antibody level in the lung will rise. Okay, because the more antibodies you have, the more severe your asthma will be, the more severe the attack will be, and also if it's present longer, that means also telling you that the ongoing respiratory response to the allergen is longer. Okay? So the study extracted the bronchoalveolar lavage fluid. That is the fluid in the lung. Right? They have to put a tube right into the lung to extract out this liquid. Okay, and then they found that albumin stimulation increased the antibodies by the level of 2 times that of normal healthy mice. That means this goes to show that like I said just now, the model of the setup of stimulation is successful lah. That means it's like an asthma attack lah. Okay, but this same one that is stimulated, but at the same time being injected with linzi recombinant protein, is reduced to the level closer to control. Okay, so what does it tell you? It improves asthma condition and reduce its severability. Right? Because as usually in all the studies on inflammation, they also have to look at the pro-inflammatory cytokine, interleukin 17A, and the anti-inflammatory cytokine in interleukin 10 in the lung, in the fluid. They measure the cells there. In the next page. Yeah. No. A topic. Yeah. Okay. What it is about skin problem, itching, inflammation, and chronic relapsing, and keep on scratching. Causes are complex. It can be genetic inheritance. It can be immune response that is being triggered by food consumption. Like my mate, my helper has this skin problem. When you eat egg lah, peanut lah, prawn lah, it will be itchy all over lah. Environment, dust, heat, that kind of thing, and all chemicals can cause all these problems to the skin and keep on scratching, and then cause off the chain of reaction. All ages may suffer from the illness, especially infant and children. Okay, it is estimated that about 20% of infant and children worldwide suffer from it, which initially start from scratching. Sometimes in Chinese we say baby, they got a lot of rashes on the face, 你吃啦, But if it's not treated, not done anything, it will scratch over time, become allergic. Okay, that's because of severe itching. Right. Of course, it is not life-threatening, but it will cause severe skin cracking, scaling, and ulceration from repeated scratching and rubbing. And of course, this will be more worse for infant and children, where we cannot tell them to stop. I mean, they are itchy, they will scratch. Okay, cannot control. Adult, we can try to tong a hole. You know, don't scratch ourselves. But children and baby, how to not to control, right? So it's very difficult. Right. Let's look at a study published in the International Journal of Molecular Medicine, or like people like to say, International Journal of Molecular Medicine in 2017, pointed out that the solid state fermentation of Artemisia capillary leaves with linseed water extract can improve atopic dermatitis. This Artemisia capillaris leaves is actually like one of the garnish we always come across where people use it on the food, you know. Okay, something like that. I think it's quite common. You see when you take beef or what, there are people, you know, you go restaurant, it's decorated on top of the food. Okay, the study used a chemical DNFB to induce dermatitis in a mouse model. Okay, so that it will be like human, make it itchy, scratching. The test material were water extract. They have to use the water extract of these Artemisia leaves, water extract of linseed mycelium, and then the solid state of fermented linseed mycelium on Artemisia leaves. How this solid state fermented is, I don't know how you go about it. First, they cultivate the linseed mycelium. Then after that, cultivate it on what potatoes, something, glucose. Then they mix it with Artemisia leaves, and then dry it up, this and that. I mean, this chemical process, we don't know how to go about it, but it is done in that way. You want to look at it, then you just go to the research. They describe a little bit about it. I also have a bit of problem understanding it, honestly. Okay, the study, I have to first, like just now, the asthma, they have to sensitize the mice by first applying 50 microliter of 0.5% DNFB solution on the abdominal skin of the mice for 5 consecutive days to let the mice get used to it. Then after that, they dip on the ear, the side, the tip of the ear, 4 times every 3 days, in a total of 4 times, to stimulate each, so that the mice will go about to scratch the ear whenever it's itchy. So after each stimulation, the day after, the following day, they will apply the test material, the linseed, the linseed mycelium extract, water extract, the solid state, the solid state fermented linseed mycelium with on Artemisia leaves, you know, on it to show. Then after that, they will kill the mice, and they cut out the ear and isolate it for analysis. Same thing here. I'm not able to copy the photo or the chart, so therefore I just use a verbal description. Hopefully you can get it right. All right, as expected, the chemical stimulation of the ear causes inflammation and swelling and scab formation due to itching and scratching, right? Because it's itchy, so the mice will start to scratch, and when they scratch, it causes inflammation, it causes swelling, and the skin will thicken. That's called scalp formation, Kiam Pi, in Hokkien we call it. Right. So, of course, applying just the water extract of Ling mycelium water or Artemisia water improve it slightly. Alright, but the group applying the solid state fermented GL water extract restore the ear texture to the condition similar to control, just like as though nothing happened. It's quite similar to it. There were no scrubbing, there were no KMP hardened, no swelling, no inflammation. Okay, not inflamed now. When something that is inflamed, you can see it's red hot, big swelling, right? Thickened, but this one is not, so it's normal. Right, so, and then of course they have a histological staining. That means they do the microscopic photo taking of the cells. And of course, it confirms the swelling and the inflammation from the scratching. Okay, but when you apply the solid state fermented Ling water extract, it significantly reduces the inflammation. Whereas just Ling mycelium water extract or the Artemisia water extract was not as effective. Okay. Alright, then of course they also look at the animal behavior. So of course, naturally, when it's not as if they have applied the right, the solid state, there's lesser scratching. So when there's lesser scratching, the natural result is there's less inflammation, all that kind of thing. So this solid state fermented group has lesser scratching than the chemically induced DNFB inducement. Right?
So, sorry, Mr. Heng, a bit soft. I think you have to hold the mic a bit.
Okay. Sorry. All right. Then, of course, the ear thickness. Here, ear thickness is basically when you is itchy and you repeatedly scratching it, it will thicken the epidermis. Right? You make your ear thicker. Right? So that's why the chemically induced mice has 5 times more thicker than the control. 5 times more is only measuring the tip of the epidermis. Okay, not exactly 5 times. It's completely very swelling, very big lah. It's just the epidermis. They find that it's much thicker. Right, and then although the Ling mycelium water extract can reduce the thickness, but the solid state fermented Ling water extract was more effective, and it can reduce the thickness by 32%. That means about 1/3, as compared to Ling mycelium water, which only reduce it by about maybe 1/8 percentage. All right. So then, of course, as it is here, they also look at the eosinophilic white blood cells, which is the inflammatory cells. Okay, is an important evaluation for the atopic dermatitis on the severability of the disease. Right. So the solid state Ling water extract can significantly reduce the number of these white blood cell by 74% as compared to the DNFB group. Why is important that these white blood cells are reduced? So when the level of it is reduced, it's telling you that there's lesser inflammation. And when there's lesser inflammation, what does it conclude? It concludes that there's lesser itchiness and resulting in lesser scratching and lesser swelling. Okay? So therefore, the conclusion of the study was that solid state Liang water extract can improve atopic dermatitis by reducing inflammation and allowing the tissue to restore to its original state, right? Okay, that's about all. And in conclusion, these 4 studies show that Liang can reduce inflammation, which is the cause of all the problems in our body. So having Liang as it is not a drug, it's a supplement. It's something that is can help to reduce your situation. Of course, we have to also realize that if a medical situation arises, you have to consult a doctor. Okay, thank you.